I'm on welcome to today's one reports on Thursday, 7th of April with New Japan market analyst at Active Markets. We've had a relatively positive start to the European trading session. Some support coming in from markets, and that's come on the back of these Fed meeting minutes last night that were generally supportive for equities and put the dollar under a bit of pressure, and that's because they were fairly much split and showing that the sort of dovish hints were still in place. They discussed the April meeting for a possible hike, but several of the committee members suggested that sort of raising interest rates in April would be sort of giving a sense of urgency to the rate hikes that wasn't appropriate, and I think that that has certainly obviously put April off the table in terms of rate hikes, but also I think seriously questions June as well. But that has weakened the dollar, and what we've got is this sort of dollar trade-weighted dollar that pushed sharply lower yesterday. This actually had a bit of a rebound overnight, or in the early European trading session. That's come with a bit of a sell-off on the euro. The euro had been gaining against the dollar. That gain has reversed. And also, not only that, you've got sterling that's under pressure, and the reason for sterling being under pressure is because there's been a result from a vote in the Netherlands over a treaty between the EU and Ukraine, and they voted no, and that has a bit of a read-through towards the Brexit vote, and that is why sterling is under pressure. Anytime Brexit comes up as an argument, sterling gets hit, and that has sort of started to see their performance of the dollar improve intraday basis. But the big mover on the day is the dollar yen, sharply lower, suggesting yen strength continued lower, percent down on the day, continued declines back towards well below 109 figure now, and continues to show sharp declines. I'll talk about that in my chart appraisals in a bit. But what we have seen is this sort of move on the dollar yen, which is certainly going to have a possible impact on the dollar going forward. Commodity currencies are fairly mixed. The dollar started to strengthen, well, rebound from the weakness, and that sort of pulled back on the Aussie dollar, so that's an interesting move there. The oil price had been higher, stronger yesterday, really strong rebound, 5% on the oil price rebound yesterday, and that started to sort of come back a little bit. That rebound on the oil came on the back of this news that Kuwait was sort of suggesting that a production freeze was possible still. And also we had a stronger than expected inventory decline in the EIA oil inventories report. So that has pulled oil high yesterday, but that sort of is dissipating slightly as this dollar has started to sort of regain some of the losses that it had further early morning trading. So what else have we got to look forward to today? Well, not actually a great deal. We had the minutes for the Fed last night. We've got the minutes for the ECB today at 12:30 UK time. So the markets will be looking out for sort of any signs of further easing measures, really, from the ECB. What measures were discussed and possibly sort of just put aside. It's seemingly going to have possibly a bit of an impact on the euro today, and also we've got the US weekly jobless claims at 1:30. 270,000, 271,000 is the expectation there, so broadly in line with what we saw last week. And then we've got a speech by Janet Yellen this evening, so the markets will obviously be looking at that as well. But my chart today is the Aussie. Interestingly enough, I spoke about the Aussie in terms of the strength of the Aussie in recent weeks, but that strength seems to be sort of starting to wane, doesn't it? You've got those higher highs in the price, but we're seeing a bearish divergence on the RSI, and MACD lines have crossed over, and the stochastics have also got that bearish divergence and are falling. So the pressure is beginning to possibly build to the downside. Now we're putting pressure on this 21-day moving average, which had been sort of a basis of support, and starting to shallow out and starting to look as though the possibility for a correction is building on this Aussie. Here we go on the hourly chart. sort of is far more neutral. And looking at this, you'd say that that's a crossover sell signal on the hourly MACD lines. Last time we got that was sort of not far from the top. Again, you even could argue there you've got bearish divergence with the highs there. So it just seems as though the momentum is being lost in this move. Again, bearish divergence on the stochastics, not so much on the MACD lines, but certainly we have a bear cross on the MACD lines, and the RSI is falling away. So I think this is a rally that could well be now moving towards being sold into. Now, in terms of your levels, 76.40 was a bit of a pivot line. So we provided resistance, then support, and then subsequently has become sort of the basis of resistance. Today's high, 76.37. So it could well become that 76.40 is a level to watch. We've seen that move in the last hour or so just drop away on the Aussie, as I said, the momentum indicators is just starting to sort of fall away, and the Aussie is now trading down on the day. I'm just thinking that this could well put pressure back on that low 75.10 area, but 74.75 is the key support near term. That was the late March low, and if you get a breach of that, that would be your sort of first key reaction low broken, and that would signal a top pattern as well. So it could well be seen that put pressure on that in the coming days and possibly weeks. But you've still got this uptrend on the Aussie, and it could well be seen that we're going to sort of start to move back towards that uptrend. So watch out for that. That's could be what these momentum indicators are suggesting, that we're just going to get a correction back towards this uptrend. But it certainly looks as though the upside impetus has just waned slightly in the Aussie in recent days. So I wish you good luck in your trading on the Aussie today, and I will speak to you later.